Hi guys, it's Beth. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a process video for a scrapbook page, and it is using the Little Princess Kit, the Perfect Princess Kit by Echo Park, designed by Lori Whitlock. And I am also doing this, I am playing along kind of a month behind, but I'm doing the January Scrap 5 challenge. And for the January Scrap 5 challenge, you were supposed to use craft paper, vellum, fussy cut items, doily, and a multi-font title on your page. So like I said, this was January's challenge, and I am just now getting around to giving it a try. I've never done this challenge before, and I thought it would be fun. And I am working on the Perfect Princess Kit this month for my 12 by 12 pad project, and so I thought it would be a fun one to kind of do as a process that you guys can follow along with as much as I can anyway. So I am using one of the patterns from the collection and am using both sides of the page. So I'm using the princess. I cut that down to about 9 by 9, and I'm going to use what I have left from the bottom, which is like a 3-inch strip, to go on the right hand side just to bring in some more design elements rather than just the princesses. So my pictures are 4 by 6, and I decided to back them on the craft cardstock. So I just trimmed the craft cardstock down to fit around my pictures with a little bit of a border. And I'm bringing in the vellum, kind of cheating with the vellum a little bit because I'm just using it as a double mat behind my pictures just to bring in a little pop of pink. So here I'm trimming down the 3-inch piece to about 11 inches because I don't want it to go all the way from the top to the bottom of my 12 by 12 inch piece of cardstock that I'm using as my base. So I'm kind of trying to figure out how I want to put the page together before I officially glue things down, but I do feel like it's fairly safe that I can put my pictures down at this point. And so I do go ahead and put those on, and then I'm using my sleeve to kind of buff out some of the fingerprints that are on the pictures. These pictures are from 2013, and my daughters have looked through them several times, so they're all kinds of fingerprints, plus the ones, my prints now from touching them to put the pictures on my mat here. So I do tend to use my sleeve to kind of buff out some of those pictures. And then here I'm laying it onto the pink vellum. And I'm going to go ahead and put my adhesive on and then add that on to the vellum. And I just thought the vellum, it just adds a little bit hint of color since the cardstock is pretty neutral. So the next thing I'm going to work on is my fussy cut item. And since I have the princesses already on the paper, I decided to cut out some words to add to the page instead of more princess images. So I'm just taking this page that has all kinds of magic, princess, fairy tale related words, and I pick out a few that I want to add to my page, and so I'm fussy cutting those out. Most of this video is just sped up 2 times, but I did speed up the fussy cutting, I think, to 4, just because you don't really need to sit and watch me cut in slow-mo. So I cut out 3 different pieces. One says pretty, one says little girls have a magic of their own, and then this one says pretty princess, I think. So I kind of play around with where I want to put those on my page, and I'm going to change my mind several times by the time I actually glue things down as to where I want them to go. But that is why I like to kind of lay things out before I actually glue them down. So now I'm going to work on my title, and for one of the 5 items was supposed to be a multi-font title, and I kind of feel like I cheated on this a little bit. I'm using 2 of the stickers from the sticker sheet, and it's pretty and princess, and I am going to I'm pulling out the doily before I forget, but I'm going to bring in this really old alphabet stack that's been in my stash for a while. And I don't even remember where this came from. It's been in my stash for a really long time. But it's kind of a light blue. And I haven't used it in a while, so I thought this layout would be perfect. And I'm just pulling out the letters to spell little. And I'm going to make my title Pretty Little Princess. So I did pull in another sheet of like clear vellum. And I thought that might help tie my title together a little bit and maybe make my letters, my blue letters, stand out a little bit more, since they are going to kind of overlap on the blue cardstock page base there. So now before I finish off my title, I decide I want to go ahead and get these pieces put down so that as I'm moving my page around, things stop shifting. So first I need to add some new ATG adhesive into my gun, and then we can get back to business. So I decide that I want to put my 9x9 square piece kind of off to the left a little bit and a little bit towards the top. More so towards the top than the bottom. And then I'm going to take my 3x11" piece and I'm going to kind of make it so that the left and right side have an even margin, and then I believe the top and bottom have an even margin with just on that 3x11" piece. So here I sped this up a little bit more too, because these letters they have a backing on them. So you peel that off and they're supposed to be sticky. They've been in my stash long enough that I noticed that they weren't very sticky anymore. So I decided to add just a little bit of art glitter glue to the back of them. And so I'm trying to line them up as best I can next to the pretty word there. And just trying to, normally if I were using letter stickers, I have a little guide that helps me line everything up. But since I had the word pretty was like one word on a sticker, and these letters were fairly easy to line up amongst themselves, and so that's all I worried about, and I figured I would be fine. So here I'm bringing in the word princess, so now my title reads Pretty Little Princess, and I'm just going to trim up the left and right hand side of that vellum strip, as well as some off of the bottom. Because really this was just to kind of help tie it all together, my title anyway, and hopefully help the letters of the word little stand out. And I ended up pushing it up a little bit further onto the layout anyway, so it may not have mattered. But so I figured out where I wanted to put my doily, and these were the only doilies I had left in my stash for some reason. So they were Studio G from Michael's, I believe, and they're like little felt doilies. So I pulled out the one with the pink that matched the best. I'm looking here on the sticker sheet just to see if there's anything else that I want to add. And I kind of decide that there isn't. But I did feel like that I had wanted my title to be like 2 rows, not all in the same row. And so I added the pretty up next to the word little and then princess underneath it. But now I felt like it needed something kind of down on the left hand bottom side of my vellum strip. So I contemplated putting that sticker, the border sticker there. So now I kind of have an idea where I want to put everything. So I'm using some more of my art glitter glue to adhere my doily down, and it's going to go underneath the top right corner of my photo element there. And I wanted to pop up my photos a little bit just because I didn't want them to be look uneven sitting on top of that doily that's going to be in the corner. So I just pulled out some like obnoxious pink cardstock from my stash that I rarely ever use. It came in one of those clearance packs from Michael's, and it's just, I love pink, but it's a weird color of pink for me. And it's kind of a fairly thick textured cardstock, so sometimes it makes really good dimensional backings for things, so that's how I use it mostly. I use it to back things that I want to pop up with just a little bit of dimension, and then I also use it when I want to make a template of something. So I added like a bigger piece to the whole back, and then I added another piece to the bottom, and then I'm going to add another smaller piece on the top left part of my photo element that is opposite of where the doily is going to be. So now I feel like I've got that so it will be fairly level. And so I'm going to go ahead and add some more ATG onto the back of that, and I'm only putting ATG on the cardstock, not anywhere else, since that's all that's really going to be touching the page. So I'm using my sleeve to kind of push that down a little bit. So as far as adhering my vellum piece, I decided to just put some art glitter glue behind where the words and the letters are. So hopefully that none of the glue will show through on my vellum piece. And I'm going to try and slide it up underneath my photo element just a little bit. So that's what I'm trying to do is kind of get that up enough to slide my vellum title piece in underneath. And I'm smoothing that down. And now I'm going to be putting all of those fussy cut pieces on that I had fussy cut out earlier. And as you see, most of them are not in the same spot that I had them in the other 2 times that I kind of laid them out. So I do decide to go ahead and go with that little heart border strip sticker for 2 reasons. 1, just to balance out my vellum piece, and then 2, to allow me to have some place to add some glue to the bottom left of the vellum piece. So I'm really trying to figure out where I want to put that little girls have a magic of their own piece. So kind of shuffle things around. Feel like I finally get them in a place that I can live with. So now I'm going to go ahead and adhere those down. So I'm adding the word pretty above Ellie in her backwards hat and oversized sunglasses. And then the Your Princess kind of above the princess picture on top of the doily. And then little girls have a magic of their own. I'm going to put that kind of towards the bottom right of my photo element. And because it will be hanging off, I do decide to add a couple layers of some of that cardstock to help level it out. So now I have that down, and then I'm trying to decide, like, it needs something else. And so I also realized I didn't have any place to journal on. So I bring a scalloped circle that I already had punched out in my stash. And I'm going to cut it in half and do some journaling up at the top left there, and then a little bit of journaling. Kind of decided to make a little grouping over down there on the bottom right. So then I also felt it needed just a little bit more sparkle, so I decided to pull out some enamel shapes. This is from a different princess line from Echo Park, but some of the pinks I feel will work, and so I'm just going to kind of scatter them around. And I decided 3 wasn't enough. So I'm trying to figure out where to put those last 2, and I'm out of the really good pinks that match, so I decided to go with the lighter pink, but it needs to go somewhere where it's actually going to stand out a little bit more. So that's what I'm trying to figure out now, where I want to put that light pink one. So I decide to move a couple of them around, and am finally happy with that. So one last touch that I'm going to add is some Wink of Stella to the word little. I just thought this would add a little more sparkle to the letters and, you know, just maybe help them pop out a little bit more. But as I mentioned before, I do hope to do some more process videos for this collection kit that I'm working on. So stay tuned for more of those videos. There will be more scrapbook pages, but there are also going to be some other projects as well. So I'm having fun playing with this one, and it's also helping me reach my goal of getting some 2013 pictures scrapped. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this process. I apologize for the glare of my lights on the photos, but here is the close-up of my page, and I don't have a lot of information on the Scrapfive challenge, and I'm not exactly sure who runs it or initiates it, but I do know that it's the hashtag Scrapfive, and I've seen a few scrapbookers here on YouTube and then a few on Instagram that have been playing along, so thought I would try, albeit a little bit late. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you're all having a very crafty day.